Sunday afternoon in Ireland, mateys. I don't know if they say mateys. I'm actually part Irish. I probably should know these things. But no, Dublin, Ireland, 9:30 a.m. Eastern kickoff. It's a standalone game. It'll be a heavily bet game for that reason. And most importantly, I've got a free play with analysis right here, right now. Hi, this is Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com, right back here on WagerTalk TV. And we're breaking down the Vikings-Steelers game once again in Dublin, Ireland. Now, very interesting scheduling spot. Minnesota will stay overseas and play again next week against the Cleveland Browns. Maybe we'll talk about that game next week in a free play video if I see an edge. So it is something to keep an eye on. I don't think either team really has an edge or a disadvantage with the travel this week. And these games are a bit random. Most times, they do not make my best bet card because of the uncertainty. But I do think there's an edge with the Vikings in this game for a few reasons. First of all, their starting quarterback is out. That's a plus in my book. I wasn't big on J.J. McCarthy coming into this season. He didn't take any snaps last year, played like a half in the preseason before getting injured his rookie season. Didn't look very good in the first couple games. So when Carson Wentz came in, I thought it would be an upgrade, and I guess it was. Easy, 48-10 win against the injured Cincinnati Bengals last week, and Wentz did all he had to. They didn't throw for much, only threw for 173 yards, but he had 70% completions, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's always important in the NFL. Don't turn the ball over. And yes, Aaron Rodgers is a veteran quarterback as well, and Rodgers isn't likely to turn the ball over too much either, even in an international game. But got to wonder what Rodgers has left in the tank. Yes, he had a huge game against his former team, the New York Jets, and he even said he had that game circled. So not a surprise there was a huge regression against the Seahawks in week 2, 54% completions, a 58 rating, one of his worst ever in the NFL. He bounced back with a better effort last week at New England, a 96.1 rating, 2 TDs and an interception, but he's still throwing 3 picks in the last 2 games. And that's going to be a problem because this Pittsburgh team has really been living on forcing turnovers. They've gotten away with the 3 turnovers the last 2 games because they forced 7 turnovers, which isn't going to happen again. This Minnesota team did have 5 turnovers forced last week, so yeah, the 5-0 turnover edge made it look a little better than the really 48-10 final score. These are probably 2 play against teams in the big picture, but I think Minnesota with Wentz at quarterback is the more consistent team right now. And the other thing that worries me about the Steelers in an international game is you want to be able to run the ball, and they haven't been able to do so at all. One of the worst rushing attacks in the NFL. And with Rodgers aging, I think it's asking a lot for him to win all these games. The rushing attack has been non-existent. They're barely averaging 50 yards per game right now on the ground, despite being 2-1 straight up. That's very unusual. Normally when you win games, you have more rushing yards just by default. To be exact, they're averaging 63 rushing yards, 2.8 yards per carry so far this season. Meanwhile, the Vikings are averaging almost 5 yards per carry on the ground. It's a substantial running edge for Minnesota. And I like the number at -2.5. It's -115 in most spots. If you like the Vikings, play it sooner than later. If you like the Steelers, wait and see if you find a +3, but I'm not sure you will. Even though it's juiced that way, the public is leaning Pittsburgh. I'm not going to call it an official public play, but the public is leaning towards the Steelers, and you know we love to fade those public dogs. And yes, a 2.5-point dog isn't necessarily a public dog, but the public is leaning towards Pittsburgh. I like to fade public dogs. I like the -2.5. It's below that key number of 3. And it's a low total, 41. It's been bet down, 40.5, 41, which means it's even more likely that the Vikings win by exactly 3. I'd say there's a 9 to 10% chance Minnesota wins this game by exactly 3 points. So at -2.5 or less, I do think there's some value with the Minnesota Vikings in Ireland at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Sunday morning. What are your thoughts on this game? Side, total, player props. How are you attacking it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I truly read the comments and I reply back. And if you're liking these free play videos, if you don't have time to comment, that's fine. It's appreciated, but a thumbs up like takes 2 seconds. Boom, smash it. Click that thumbs up like, and I will keep these free play videos coming each and every week for both college football and pro football. Also, Major League Baseball playoffs start next week. The NBA and college basketball season start next month. Great time to be following along here on WagerTalk TV. So make sure you subscribe. Over 220,000 subscribers. Can't be wrong. Hey, and click that bell as well for instant alerts. So when these free play videos are posted, including my NFL Fade the Public video this weekend. If you'd like to get my official best bets, they're posted every day on my page, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. You can get there quicker with shortcut wt.buzz/SM. And don't forget about the daily free play. The last cut from my best bet card goes up as a bonus free play for everyone every day. Check out today's free play right now with analysis, and check out my personal best bets, which are available as well for my paid subscribers. And if you'd like to become a subscriber, now's a great weekend to do it. Instant 30% discount on any all-access purchase you make. It can be a 1 day, a 1 week, a 1 month, even a 1 year, and you get 30% off instantly. This gets both college and pro football and Major League Baseball each and every day. And if you get a 1 month or a 1 year, you're going to get basketball as well, which I mentioned starts next month. Instant 30% discount with promo code ACCESS30, ACCESS30. ACCESS30 is the promo code to use for an instant 30% discount on any all-access pass you purchase this weekend. You see it on your screen right now. That's the promo code to use at checkout, ACCESS30, for an instant 30% discount. Look, you don't have to memorize it. It's on my page right now, along with some other special offers. If you want just a weekend warrior package, get all football for just $49 this weekend. Lots of special offers, including that instant 30% discount on my page, along with the daily free play. Go get that free play right now. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. And hey, get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. On the way out, don't forget to follow me on social media on X and Instagram at Steve Merrill. 2 R's, 1 L. You see it on the bottom corner of your screen at Steve Merrill on X and Instagram. And stay tuned here to Wager Talk TV because you know there's more free play videos coming up next, including my Sunday night Packers-Cowboys preview, the huge game between the Ravens-Chiefs, and also both Monday night football games free for you right here on Wager Talk TV. So stay tuned.
Let's go to Dublin for an early start game on Sunday. It's the best Irish accent I can do at this stage. Teddy covers WagerTalk.com with a big game breakdown for Vikings Steelers. Early start, 6:30 a.m. here on the left coast, 9:30 for you back east. The Europe games have begun. And right now, looking at the WagerTalk, the Odds Logic live odds screen, I'm seeing Minnesota -2.5, total of 41. There are some 40.5s out there, juiced to the over, but mostly 41s for this ball game. And we're talking about two struggling offenses. Make no mistake about it, Aaron Rodgers has not been good for Pittsburgh so far this season. Last week, they managed to get to 21, in large part because the Patriots made a lot of mistakes in that ball game. And Baltimore and Pittsburgh's defense was able to take advantage. So we'll give them credit for forcing the 5 turnovers, including 2 inside the 5-yard line. But Pittsburgh's offense has not been good. Their defense hasn't been particularly good either. But offensively, what did we see? 1 play of 20 or more yards last week. Aaron Rodgers with 139 passing yards, 4.1 yards per play. You know, this isn't a team that has been moving the football up and down the field. The running game's been dicey. The receiving core's been dicey. And Aaron Rodgers is looking like a 40-something-year-old QB who are not generally bet on quarterbacks. And Rodgers, a guy with an outsized reputation, I mean, his last good year was what, 2021, 2022? It's been a while for Aaron Rodgers. I'll leave it at that. So it's not like I'm excited about the Pittsburgh side of the equation. Of course, Minnesota's got the Carson Wentz side of the equation. And Wentz coming off. And Wentz is a veteran. We expect Wentz, when put in good situations like he was last week, to be able to move the offense. They talked about it. Mike Tomlin talked about how he worries more about the veterans than he does about the youngsters. He'd rather face J.J. McCarthy this week. And Minnesota certainly had more offensive production last week than they did under McCarthy. But we've seen enough from Wentz in this league not to trust the guy. Really have. And it's, and again, Kevin O'Connell, I was the least surprised person in the whole building. He was able to get out there and effectively run our offense. Sure, for 1 game. Now he's got to do it another game. And he's got to do it. It's not like Pittsburgh's defense has been good, but it's not like Minnesota has this juggernaut offense that we can expect to put up points in bunches week after week. Now, there are some factors in the Steelers' favor. Certainly, so they're playing before the bye, and teams before. People always talk about, they're coming off the bye. They're coming off the bye. Coming off the bye is not a bet-on spot in the NFL. Going into the bye is the bet-on spot, because nobody wants to hear it for 2 weeks from the coach and the fans and their friends about how bad they sucked in the last game. It's very true. So going into the bye, we've seen teams, in all kinds of roles. We've seen for the favorite role, the underdog role, both have been profitable for teams heading into the bye week, and that's what the situation Pittsburgh's in now. Minnesota gets to stay in Europe for another week and then play next week before they come home and have their bye. So in that sense, advantage Steelers. But there's also the fact that Minnesota's played, and I think Europe has something to do with this. That has something to do with the handicap. All right. But when we talk about Minnesota, and Pittsburgh last played in Europe, it was, 10, 12 years ago. It's been a while. They lost to Minnesota, by the way, last time they played over there. Minnesota played in Europe last year. And they also played 2 years ago, or 2 or 3 years. I think it was 2022 and 2024. So the fact that they have this experience of playing overseas, the preparations, the changes you need to make, in my mind, that's an edge. That's a legitimate edge for the Vikings. The Vikings deserve to be favored. And I think the Vikings are the better of these two teams. Certainly on the defensive side of the football, I think Minnesota may well be the much better of these two teams. Pittsburgh's got big names, but those big names, other than creating 5 turnovers last week, again, New England outgained them by more than a yard per play in that ball game. I've got a lot of concerns about the Steelers' defense, despite the fact that we've seen, that they held New England to 14 last week. That was as much the Patriots making. That was all about the Patriots making mistakes, not necessarily about Pittsburgh shutting them down. So I guess the answer here is Carson Wentz and the Vikings lead Minnesota in this early start game. If I'm playing, of course, the favorites have done well. Last 50 international games, favorites 32-18. They made money. And the NFL's had that many international games now, so it's actually a decent sample size. So, yeah, I'll look at the Vikings here at 2.5. All right, I don't want to lay 3 with Minnesota, but the current number, 2.5, that's the way I would look. Listen, guys, we appreciate those likes very, very much. If you like this type of content, please hit that like button. Makes all the difference for us. We appreciate the follows. More than 220,000 of you following WagerTalk TV now on YouTube. If you haven't done so, get instant alerts every time these videos go live. And of course, we appreciate the comments. Tell us what you think below. Agree, disagree. I won't be mad at you. Leave a comment below and tell us your thoughts about this game and any other. And of course, visit my page, wt.buzz/TC. We've got a Weekend Warrior Pass for $49. We have a buy 1 month, get the second month for $3 a day. So you get 2 months of all access, every play, every day, every sport for under $400. We have a $99 a month full season, full year pass, I should say. Gets you every play, every day, every sport for the next 365 days. Lots of good deals, short term, medium term, long term, at WagerTalk.com. Check them out and get on board. Again, my homepage, wt.buzz/TC. Thank you so much for watching. Best of luck with all your bets this weekend. And stay tuned right here on the channel for more quality video content. Cheers.
How bad are the Miami Dolphins? The Carolina Panthers opened up as a home favorite. The Dolphins are now the favorite, but that just puts it in perspective for you. I am Ralph Michaels. We are breaking down the Miami Dolphins and Carolina Panthers, and this video is brought to you courtesy of the GoldSheet. I'm throwing in some of my own trends and angles, but I'm going to read you what the GoldSheet says about this game, and in fact, it is one of their key releases. They went 5-0 in key releases in the NFL last week. And remember, the GoldSheet gets posted every Tuesday night. You can buy it for just $19 per week. There's a write-up on every NFL game and every FBS versus FBS college football game. Or just $159 gets you the GoldSheet each and every week through the Super Bowl. Both teams come in 1-3. Both teams can easily be 0-4. Carolina started off at Jacksonville. Then they played Arizona. First 2 games on the road. They end up losing those games 26-10 and 27-22. They host Atlanta. They only put up 224 yards and 15 first downs, but they were plus 2 turnovers, getting outgained by 108 yards and have a very misleading 30-0 final. Then last week against New England, they had a yardage edge, but it was ugly special teams play for them. They got behind early. They actually benched Bryce Young, brought in Andy Dalton. Again, finished with a 326-307 yard edge, but lose that game 42-13. For the Dolphins, They end up losing their first 3 games of the season. They go to the Colts, get mauled, outgained by 207 yards, 8 points, 12 first downs, 211 yards on offense. They lose 33-8. They host New England. They have a slight yardage edge, but again lose the turnover battle, end up losing 33-27. They got to Buffalo, actually play well early, have a rain delay, can never come back and fight back, get outgained by 84 yards, lose by 10, covering a double-digit spread, 31-21. And then last Monday night, in fact, they ended up winning that game 27-21. They actually were outgained by 104 yards again. The reason they did win that game, they finished +3 in turnovers. So Miami lost the turnover battle in 3 games, lost all those games, finished +3 against the Jets. They win that game. Carolina, their 3 losses, they were either even or minus turnovers. The one game they were +2 turnovers against the Falcons, a 30-0 score. Let me break down some T&A before I read you what the GoldSheet says about this game. For those that don't know, T&A stands for exactly what you think. Trends and angles. Get your mind out of the gutter if you were thinking of anything else. Well, when teams are off in away loss, like Carolina, they are at home with the lines between the 3.5. So from +3.5 to -3.5. And they were in a game where they trailed in the fourth quarter of the previous game. Those teams are only 73-100 against the spread. That is 42.2%. By the way, those teams are also 78-92 over-under. That is 56% to the under. So System 1 says fade Carolina, and it likes the under. System 2, teams that are a small away dog, up to +5.5. So they're from +1 to +5.5. They're off a win as a home favorite, and they have a losing ATS record on the year. They have gone 72-43, 63% against the spread. And finally, when both teams have a win percentage of 25% or less during the first 5 games of the season, and a team is a non-division home favorite, they are 39-69, 36%. I did throw that one in because Carolina opened as a home favorite. We don't know. They may go to a home favorite again in a few days. So again, that one is specifically for a home favorite, which may fit this mold or may not. We'll see what happens. A couple more notes I want to share about this game. Bryce Young was pulled. Head coach Canales said, is he going to be your coach this week? Let me read you his quote. Absolutely. We're counting on him to keep pushing us forward, counting on him to keep us on track. There were some near misses across the board, some penalties that put us in weird situations, a couple of protection issues, and one of them when he slipped and kind of put us in a bad situation. So we will see Bryce Young back under center this upcoming week. I do want to say, Carolina also, when you go back to the start of last season, when they are a dog of 5 or more, they have gone 10-6, 62.5% against the spread. But as a small dog or a favorite, the last 2 seasons, they're 0-4 straight up, they're 0-4 against the spread, and they have failed to cover those games by 21 points per game. Before I read you what the GoldSheet has, do us a favor, hit this like button, leave a comment. All of those things help our algorithms. All of those things allows us to continue to give you all the free content from WagerTalk Media. And make sure you hit the like button and follow WagerTalk social medias, be it TikTok, be it YouTube TV, be it Twitter. We have over 300,000 followers from WagerTalk Media. Make sure you are part of the group. Again, this week's GoldSheet, $19. The whole season, $159 off a 5-0 key release sweep last week. The GoldSheet says for this game, Miami won and covered each of the last two meetings, with the last one being a 42-21 home win as a 14-point favorite in October 23. Carolina has struggled this season, but remember, 3 of the Panthers' first 4 games have been played on the road. Since week 9 last season, Carolina 6-1 against the spread at home, including an outright upset against the Falcons, a game we talked about just 2 weeks ago. The GoldSheet says we like the under in this contest. Miami traveling on a short week after playing on Monday Night Football. The Dolphins now have to game plan for life without Tyreek Hill. Carolina QB Bryce Young was benched in favor of Andy Dalton in last week's game against the Patriots. And Young, again, only averaged 5.0 yards per attempt on the season. His YPA, yards per attempt, under 5.4. Those are horrific numbers. The Panthers' defense has actually performed better than expected this season, but Carolina's offense and special teams have not given him any help. The Patriots returned a punt for 87 yards and then returned another one for 61 yards to allow them to pull away in that game last Sunday. If the Panthers' special teams get that under control, the defense has been good enough to keep Carolina competitive. Remember, Miami, one of the slowest paced teams, only ran the ball 31 times, passed 25 times against the Jets. That is only 56 plays. With that type of low profile, with the Carolina's defense playing better than their offense, the Miami defense has given up a lot of pass completion yards. They're allowing almost 78%, but we don't think Bryce Young can exploit it. I lean Miami. The GoldSheet key release, the official key release, under 44.5, Carolina and Miami. Again, smash that like button. Check out this week's GoldSheet. And if you're interested in my college football, number 2 since the start of the 2023 season, I got a big 5% on Friday for $35. Or get the Saturday, Sunday Weekend Warrior, all my Saturday college football and my Sunday NFL for just $49. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you check out my next football video.
The Cowboys go on the road as 2.5-point favorites to face the winless New York Jets. Can the Jets get a win? Aaron Glenn might be the first Jets head coach to start 0-5 in the first year, not a record he would want. All right, we're going to break down this game. I'll give you a play that I really like. I like the Jets offense. When we see these really bad defenses in the NFL, just every week we just try and fade them. That's why I like the Jets team total. This is a pretty simple breakdown, guys. The Cowboys give up 6.4 yards per play. The Jets are at 5.4. Cowboys 5.9 yards per play on offense. That is 6th best, and the Jets are 17th. I like the Jets over this 23.5 team total. I mean, the Cowboys gave up 40 to the Packers, 31 to the Bears, 37 to the Giants. I know this isn't an explosive Jets offense, but it doesn't need to be. This Cowboys defense is so banged up, injury after injury. No Micah Parsons, obviously, after the trade, and they just cannot slow teams down in the slightest. So I think this is a really good spot at home for a very motivated Aaron Glenn. And, Justin Fields has to be licking his chops. I would look at him at plus 140 to throw over 1.5 touchdown passes. Taking Jordan Love over 1.5 touchdown passes last week was a client play. Easy cash. I would also look at Justin Fields to not have an interception. He doesn't throw the ball very much. And when he does, it's accurate. When he misses, it's into the ground. He doesn't throw dangerous hospital balls that get picked off. So there's a lot to like about this Jets offense this week, but I will just simplify it and just say I like the Jets team total over 23.5. I'm pretty surprised at the overall total of this game. Just checking at the time of recording this, over-under is only 47.5. A Cowboys offense that goes 5.9 yards per play. And a defense that's allowing 6.4 yards per play. I like overs in this one. That may be a little bit of a square take on that one, but sometimes the square and obvious plays cash. So looking to support the Jets offense against a very bad Cowboys defense. NFL Week 5 prop pack is up. All props that we have will be included. Thursday game, all Sunday games, Monday game. We're on a really nice 3-0 run. Cashed all plays in the primetime game. So bringing some really nice momentum here into Week 5. So join us. We've been pretty high volume this year. We're selective, but there's so many props that are available that we end up with 7 to 10 any given week. So you're going to get plenty of plays and plenty of sprinkles to make this a profitable weekend. So goal is to end the year about 58, 59% on props. We're around 54, 55% at this time. So looking to really, really increase that over the next few weeks. We've got some really good reads and some bettable games. So if you want to join us and partner up, highly encourage it. WT.buzz/AL, a great way to watch the football games and increase your bankroll at the same time. You can get there quicker by going to WT.buzz/AL. And if you guys could hit the like button, really, really appreciate it. It just helps the algorithm out. And put in the comment section what you like in this game. Give me a prop. Give me an opinion on the spread or total if you agree or disagree. I love reading the comments. Try and respond to as many as possible. Let me know if you think the Jets can get off the schneid and get their first win of the season. Let's partner up with the props pack over on my profile page. We also have a 5% UFC best bet that is up. And if you want to use the promo code BANG10, that's BANG10, that gets you $10 off our UFC 5% play, as well as all UFC plays that we have. So nice cash on Contender Series. We had a nice 2% play on Contender Series on Tuesday night. So looking forward to making it a big Saturday. Thanks for watching. Good luck on your plays and take care. The Eagles are at home facing the Denver Broncos. Eagles are a 3.5-point favorite with a total sitting at 43.5 at the time of recording this. I'm going to tell you why I like the Broncos to cover this game. Welcome, everyone. I'm Andy from WagerTalk.com. Listen, this is an Eagles team that I love the Eagles. I love Jalen Hurts, but they just haven't been that impressive. I think this is a good spot for Denver when I go through some of these numbers. Their pass defenses are pretty similar. Broncos a little bit better rush defense. And the fact is the Eagles are just not winning by big margins here. They get the 4-point win in the opener against Dallas, 3-point win against a banged-up Kansas City Chiefs team when their wide receiving core was next to nothing. Tyquan Thornton was their leading wide receiver in that game, and Tyquan Thornton's the guy that got cut by New England. So that's the kind of team that Philly beat. And then luckiest cover of all time against the Rams when they had the block kick return for the touchdown. And then a one-score win against Tampa when Baker Mayfield was hurt. They didn't have Mike Evans. They didn't have Chris Godwin. So the Eagles have kind of been stumbling here a little bit, not blowing out teams. Meanwhile, we look at with the Broncos. The Broncos have 2 losses, 1-point loss at the Colts. The Colts probably should be 4-0 if we don't have the fumble out of the end zone from the wide receiver. And then 3-point loss at Chargers. They were winning that game with 3 minutes to go. So they're not getting blown out in their losses. There's an Eagles team that really struggles to pass the ball. Last week against Tampa, they were 0 for 8 in the second half. When they won a game, it was 0 for 8 passing in the second half. Philly is 3rd worst yards per play on offense. Meanwhile, Denver is 10th. Denver is 8th in yards allowed per play. Philly is 18th. And I know that some of these numbers are going to be a little bit skewed because of that Bengals game where the Broncos played a completely inept Bengals team. But there's something about that game when, on paper, the Broncos are coming off kind of a short week, but how much energy did they really use in a 28-3 easy win? So I don't necessarily think that this short week is going to affect Denver that much. This is why I like Denver in plus 3.5. If this was minus 2.5, I would stay away. But when I'm looking at this game, I'm seeing an Eagles team that just doesn't blow teams out. I see a little bit better rush defense for Denver. I see better yards per play. And Bo Nix, at this moment, is throwing the ball better than Jalen Hurts. And got a little bit of an issue with A.J. Brown. I think that's a little bit overblown. But this is just not an Eagles team that I want to be laying points with. Eagles do what it takes to win, but as far as winning by margin, that's just not really what they've been doing recently. So as far as a player prop, he didn't have a rushing touchdown last week. I think you go right back to Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts to score. This has been something that we've just decided we're going to play every week. this season. He's basically averaging 1 rushing touchdown per game in his career. So this is just a rinse and repeat type of play, and we expect this to be something like 11-6, 12-5 at the end of the year. So we go ahead and play that every single week. So if you're looking for a prop, I would look at that. Another prop when it comes out, Bo Nix, they put his rush attempts at 5.5 again last week, and he went over 5.5 rush attempts. However, caution on this one. 3 of those were kneel downs at the end of the game just so he got to 6. So if you think Philly's going to win this game and we don't get kneel downs from Bo Nix, I would look at the under on rush attempts. So I would also look at Denver maybe over the team total. I see 19.5 on DraftKings right now. There's an Eagles team that is not holding teams at home under this 19.5. I think this Broncos offense is gonna be on point, and they're gonna have a few surprises possibly. They did not need to show much in their last game against Cincinnati. So we're looking at the Broncos to do well, cover the spread, possibly their team total over, and we're looking at Jalen Hurts to score a touchdown. Our NFL Week 5 props pack is up. We're on a really nice 3-0 run. Swept the board in the 2 primetime games. And this prop pack, listen, this is my bread and butter. You guys that follow me, you know I love betting props. I think they're way more gettable than some of the lines and the totals. There's so many props on the board. I just don't think the books can have every single line dialed in. So every week we put up a props pack, and you get every single prop, all Thursday games, all the Sunday games, Monday games as well. So that's available at WagerTalk.com. We're well over 50 units in props last 365 days. So this is my bread and butter. This is what I do in NFL. So we're hitting about 55% on props, just full disclosure, about 55%. It's good. It's not great. I'd like that to be up around the 59% mark at the end of the season. So looking forward to a really good week 5. All props are included in that. You can get there quicker by going to wt.buzz/AL. I like the momentum that myself and the team have, 3-0 in the primetime game. So looking for a big week 5. If you guys could please do me a favor and just hit the like button. Really, really helps. And put in the comments section what you think on this game. You with me or against me on this Broncos love that I have here? I think they cover the spread. I think they go over their team total. Just let me know in the comments section. I love reading the comments and seeing what you guys are on. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Good luck on your bets. Let's have a big week 5. Good luck on your bets and take care.
Let's start conceptually here, all right? There's no way right now that I can look anyone in the eye and say, yeah, take the Texans minus 2.5. The Texans were available at plus 9.5 in the look headline. Okay, that's fine. You didn't get the look headline. No big deal. They were available at plus 6.5 at the open. They were available at plus 4 on Tuesday. And now you're laying a couple of points with them. You cannot make money in the NFL betting teams making bets like Houston right now. You might win 1, you might win 2, you might win this one. But it is a negative expectation wager. So the only choice from a side standpoint here is, do I want Baltimore or do I want to pass? And for me, that's pretty clear. I want to pass from the side standpoint. The Ravens, admittedly, they faced a very tough schedule. Okay, fine. But now they finished that portion of the tough schedule. It doesn't get a whole lot easier against Houston's defense. All right, the Texans defense is elite. They'll be playing with Cooper Rush likely behind center. Certainly the markets are indicating that we're not going to see Lamar Jackson this weekend for Baltimore, and I don't blame them. They've got injuries on the offensive line. They've got at the end of the game last week, there were 7 different defensive starters who were out with injury. All right. So whatever Baltimore was supposed to be, whatever the name, it says, Ravens uniforms, the Ravens is Ravens on their uniforms. This team right now isn't that. All right. So I don't want Baltimore side. I don't want Houston side. What I do want here is the total. All right. Houston's offense is not clicking. All right. And again, you look at the final score last week. They moved the football. No, they didn't. That game was 6-0 into the fourth quarter against the Tennessee Titans. And even with all the injuries that Baltimore has on the defense side of the football, I still grade out their defense better than Tennessee. And this isn't new or different from Houston. Yeah, they found Woody Marks last week and Nick Chubb. They want to run the football. That'd be great if they can run the football. I would expect there to be a steady diet of runs here. That said, the passing game for the Texans has lacked explosiveness. Stroud's been under pressure. Cooper Rush, not a QB that I'm expecting to make a bunch of plays, especially not early. So we can't play the side here. We can most assuredly play the total. And I think the way to go here is first half. Let's take the second half shenanigans out of the game and just go first half under. The Texans obviously 4-0 to the under. The Ravens 4-0 to the over. But Baltimore's numbers are based with Lamar Jackson behind center. The Texans have allowed 4.7 yards per play for the season. Ravens 5.7. So defensively, Houston a full yard per play better. That said, the Ravens have played a bunch of good offenses that they won't be facing one this week. Offensively, Texans are 5.1 yards per play, Baltimore 6.4. So Texans a below average offense, they go above average defense. They've been playing these low scoring grinders. Baltimore been playing these high scoring shootouts, but now they have a team that wants to play slow against them, and they're playing with a backup QB who, frankly, Cooper Rush is okay. I don't trust him to throw the football. So my play here is under, and particularly first half under. All right. 20, the prevailing number. You can find 20.5 out there if you shop around. Look for a low-scoring first half between the Texans and Ravens under 20.5. If you can find it, under 20 is okay.
Tell everyone what you have up. We got Weekend Warrior special if you want to get college, you want to get NFL. What do you have up for clients for this weekend? Big weekend.
Yeah, and we're running good right now, guys. It's been a great week for the clients this week, 3-0 over the last 3 days. We're in action tonight in college football. I have a 5% big ticket in college football tomorrow, 6-2, 75% with the college football 5% big tickets. That dates back to 2023. I don't release a lot of them. When I do, I expect them to win. Over the last 2 weeks, 19-8, 70% all sports run, 11-4 football run. That's 5-2 NFL, 6-2 college. Last 2 weekends have been real good for the clients and I. And again, we got a 5% big ticket as part of a loaded Saturday card. We're in play tonight. And my NFL, I'll be releasing in the not too distant future. We will be involved in Monday Night Football this week as well, which is good news if you want that Weekend Warrior package. And the baseball's red hot too, 13-3. MLB playoff dating back to last year, 3-0 so far this season. I'm confident we'll be in action tomorrow, although I haven't posted yet.
There's nothing that I'd rather be doing right now than talking about NFL with you. And in this video, I got 2 games that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the Tampa Bay Bucs at the Seattle Seahawks, and then we're going to talk about the Washington football team at the LA Chargers. Let's get it started. We got the Bucs 3-1 off that 31-25 home loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. 31-25 sounds like a pretty close game, doesn't it? It was not a close game. It was 24-6 for the Eagles at halftime. And Baker Mayfield was questionable heading into that game with a bicep injury. And he's perhaps still got some lingering issues with that bicep, which is a reason for concern here. He threw for 289 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick on 22 of 40 passing. So not exactly accurate. He did practice in full on Thursday. He also has a knee injury, so he's got a sore knee and a sore arm. Not great as a quarterback heading into Seattle. And then the news gets worse from there. Mike Evans is out. Bucky Irving is doubtful. And if there's any question whether Bucky Irving's going to play, you look at the prop market for Rachaad White, and his rushing yard total is sitting at 53.5 yards. That's double what his previous high, more than double what his previous high has been this season at 25. So they're expecting Rachaad White to get the bulk of the carries here. I don't think that bodes well either. I think Bucky Irving's a far more dynamic player. And without all their weapons and with a quarterback with a sore arm, I'm not sure I can sign up for Tampa Bay on the road. On the West Coast, Seattle is 5th in the NFL, allowing just 3.6 yards per carry against the run. So it's not like they can lean on the run either. Mike Evans, I mean, you got to have Mike Evans if you're going to win a game on the road. And you look at Baker and you look at this offense for Tampa, aside from the last minute of the first half and the last minute of the game, they have not been very good. I had Tampa in week 1 against Atlanta and was very fortunate to win that game, let me tell you. The home team is 5-0 straight up in the last 5 meetings between these teams, which is not surprising given that they are at opposite sides of the country. The home team's also 7-1 in the last 8 head-to-head meetings. Tampa Bay, they have a top 10 pass offense. They're allowing just 188 yards per game. But you look at who they've faced. They faced the Atlanta Falcons, the Houston Texans, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the New York Jets. So you got like a rookie quarterback. You've got Houston, basically the worst offense in the league. Philly, a team that runs the ball. And the Jets, I mean, they're the Jets. So when you look at their top 10 pass defense, you got to scratch your head and wonder if those stats will hold. Sam Darnold has been good this year, very good. And his passing yards prop for this game sits at 224.5 yards. I think that's a little low based on the fact that statistically Tampa ranks very good against the pass. So I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks, and I'm going to go with Sam Darnold over 224 passing yards for our first game. Before we get into our second game, I've got to tell you about a promotion we have available right now at WagerTalk.com, and this one is a big one. You can get $500 off a year pass, and we'll throw in a 25% off bonus coupon. So you can sign up for myself, get $500 off, and use that coupon for Ross the Boss. Or you can sign up for Ross the Boss, use the coupon for me. But no purchase necessary. You're more than welcome to tune in just for the free picks. The only thing I ask from you is that you take the time to smash that like button. And if you've got anything to say about this game or the next game or any game on Sunday or even college football, hit me up in the comments. I love hearing from you guys. We've been getting some interesting comments lately. Let's see what some of the people out there are saying. We've got DP Jacob 28. Jesse, you are top shelf. Well done. Always a good listen. Wish you were easier to find. Well, thank you, Jacob, but I'm pretty easy to find. If you go to Google and check for Jesse Schul, I'm pretty much the only guy that shows up. There's not that many guys out there named Jesse Schul. I'm on Wager Talk. I put out videos almost every day, live shows. You'll find my videos everywhere on YouTube. So very easy to find. And you can find my premium picks at wt.buzz/JS. But thank you for the comment, Jacob. Now let's look at Chuck Finley 777. Keep calling out these clown shows, Jesse. These purse-carrying, pompous pricks usually have the character flaws that cost teams points and games. And he's referring to my comments about Kyler Murray and his designer purses. And while I find this humorous, that was not exactly my point when I called out Kyler Murray. My point was more that he doesn't have the work ethic. He doesn't watch film. And he looked like he gained a little bit of weight in that video also. So I'm not of the opinion that everybody that carries a purse is as Chuck said, but it seems like Chuck's probably right around the same age. He's probably my age, and we're in the same mindset, but I wouldn't go as far as to say what he said. Anyways, let's get into the second game. We're looking at Washington, the Washington football team, because I refuse to use their current name. The Chargers will be a 3-point favorite. The total sits at 47. Jaden Daniels is back. He's healthy. He's been practicing. He's going to play. Unfortunately, he doesn't have much in the way of receivers because Terry McLaurin's out. Noah Brown's out. And Debo is questionable. Washington, though, they might not need receivers. They rank number 2 in the NFL in rushing, averaging 155 yards per game and 5.9 yards per carry. And I was thinking to myself, is that real? So I checked it out, and those numbers are exactly in line with last season, even though it's a different cast of characters in the backfield. So, yeah, Washington can run the ball. The Chargers, on the other hand, they're 3-1 coming off that loss to the Giants, and the Giants just ran that ball down their throat. The Giants only averaged, I think, 3.8 yards per carry. They ran the ball 52 times. They just kept on pounding. And they got it in there, and they won that game. Great to see Jackson Dart and Cam Scattaboo, the young guys, get a victory. This Chargers team is in trouble. They've got injuries on the offensive line. Joe Alt went down last week. Mekhi Becton is questionable as well for this game. And Derwin James is questionable. I really think that the Chargers are going to struggle to Justin Herbert in particular. He struggled last week against the Giants. He threw for just 203 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. That Giants defensive line looks good on 23 of 41 passing, so not accurate. He could struggle again behind a banged up offensive line this week. I think the total is a little high in this game. Washington's defense ranked 27th against the pass, 17th against the run. So it's a pretty average defense, but with the offensive line concerns, I don't think this is a good spot for the Chargers. And I think 47, that number is just a wee too high. So we're going to take the under in the second game. If you like this video, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. And if you've got anything to say to me, even if it's nasty, hit me up in the comments below. I'll make you famous. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you next week.
The Lions have been really powerful home favorites against bottom feeders. All right. We look at Detroit already this year. They beat Cleveland by 24 last week. They beat Chicago by 31 in their 2 previous games as home favorites. Now they face a Cincinnati team that is reeling, coming off another disaster performance, back-to-back disasters for the Bengals. The last one on national TV on Monday night, giving them a short week to travel to Detroit. How do we break it down? Can the Bengals hang around in this one, or do we just lay it with the Lions? Let's talk about it with a big game breakdown. Teddy covers from WagerTalk.com. And right now, looking at my Odds Logic live odds screen for Detroit and Cincy. Look, it's been all Lions money. The pros have already bet Detroit. The Joes are starting to pile on. The books will have a lot of Lions liability in this ball game, and they're going to have parlay liability on the Lions. It's a late game. It's not an early game. So that makes it even more likely that the books are going to face a fair bit of they'll have a big rooting interest in this one. I'll leave it at that. When the pros and Joes line up, when the parlays line up on that same side, like this is gonna, and when it's a late game standing apart from the others, yeah, the books will need Cincinnati badly for this one. But looking at the Odds Logic live odds screen, I'm seeing Detroit minus 10.5 popping up. There's still some 10s out there, but it's mostly 10.5. Total sitting 49.5 for Detroit and Cincy. And I want to talk about what the Lions did at home last year, because I think it's relevant for this matchup. It's basically, it's not the same Lions team, but it's an MO from Dan Campbell. And Detroit had some big blowouts last year. They beat Jacksonville by 46 on this field. They beat Tennessee by 38, 2 games where they scored in the 50s. They beat Seattle by double digits. But they also had a lot of closer than expected results. They lost at home to Tampa. The Rams took them to overtime. We saw last year, and again, last year too much down the stretch. Chicago gave them a battle. Green Bay gave them a battle. They lost to Buffalo at home. Yeah, and obviously they lost in the playoffs at home as well. So before we get too excited about the Lions' home field, you have to know that, yeah, long term and even shorter term, it's much closer to 50-50 than pure dominance. My clients and I had Cincinnati on Monday Night Football with my only loser this past week in the NFL. And it was wrong. It couldn't have been more wrong. Or it could have, the Bengals were a disaster in that ballgame. I wasn't the only one that watched it. You all watched it too. And now it's back-to-back weeks for the Bengals where they were just wiped off the field. All right. Those back-to-back weeks for Cincinnati came against 2 of the elite defenses. And 2 of the elite defensive coordinators. Certainly Denver's defense has been dominant. Vance Joseph is someone that we trust. And for Minnesota, their defense has been dominant as well. Brian Flores is a coordinator that we trust. Detroit's defense isn't of that caliber. All right. They're not as good as those 2 defenses. That said, Jake Browning's been throwing interceptions and struggling from the get-go. But when you have a team off these type of embarrassments, all right, 1 of 2 things happens. One is they're done. You can stick a fork in them. If Cincy plays this week like they played last week and the week before, we could see, the Zach Taylor rumors will rumble. Maybe he goes. Who knows? Cincinnati certainly hasn't been the type of team that's attracted a big groundswell of betting support. Their offensive line's been a disaster so far this season. Defensively, they're not particularly good. It's hard to make a case for Cincy. The only case I can make is, hey, this team's been awful on national TV, and there's a little bit of value there, and the books are really going to need them because pros and Joes are lining up on the other side. And that's a case. That's a legit case. You say, all right, if the Bengals lose by 10, at plus 10.5, you still cover. And one would think, off the type of losses they've had the last couple of weeks, that the effort's there this week for Cincy. They were embarrassed. Everyone was embarrassed. And when you hear guys calling out their teammates, that's not a bad thing. We heard Chase say it the other day. That he's not mad at his teammates. He wants people to be mad. It's okay to be pissed off when you get crushed. So anyhow, it's hard to take Cincinnati plus the points. We know how good Detroit is. We know how good Detroit can be. We know that Detroit, they don't win all of these games by big margins, but when Detroit gets going, they can certainly take care of business. That said, next week, they got Kansas City. That's a little bit of a look ahead. Coming off a blowout, Chiefs up next. I would not be surprised at all here if Detroit gets a lead and sits on it and doesn't end up covering the number. I'll go with the house in this one. I really will. All right? It's hard for me to get to the window with the side that everyone sees and likes. All right? Pros and Joes? Yeah, I'll go the other way. Cincy, plus the points. It's not pretty. It's not easy. But as a capper who's been in Vegas since 1998, seen enough football, seen enough NFL to know teams aren't as bad as they looked last week. Teams aren't as great as they looked last week. Cincy to lose by 10 or less. Give me the Bengals plus the points. Running pretty good, no question about it. It's been a good couple of weeks in college football, in the NFL, in Major League Baseball, 70% all sports run. Check out my homepage, wt.buzz/TC, and get on board. Again, when you're running good in every sport that you do, these weekend warrior packages for $49, great deal. Weekly packages, monthly packages, seasonal packages, year-long packages. If you want to get on board, I encourage you, don't buy a play, and I do have a 5% big ticket in college this weekend. Don't buy it. Get on board with the package. Let's partner up and see if we can make some money together. Again, 70% all sports run over the last 2 weeks, and I plan on winning again this weekend. wt.buzz/TC. Thanks for watching. Best of luck with your bets, and stay tuned right here on this channel for more quality video content. Cheers. Sunday Night Football in Buffalo. Let's talk about the Bills and the Patriots in a big game breakdown. And right now, looking at the OddsLogic live odds screen, there's line variance on this game. -7.5 for Buffalo, -8. I'm seeing -8.5 and -9. All right now as we speak. So you can lay 7.5 with the Bills. You can take 9 with the Patriots. That's it. They say 8's a dead number. Okay, not for teasers it isn't, because 7.5, 8, 8.5 point favorites using Wong teaser methodology gets you down to 1.5, 1.5, 2, 2.5 on a 6-point teaser. So the 9s are juiced to high heaven, if you like, Buffalo. And I call them teaser protection lines, where books go from 7.5 straight to 9 and skip through the 8 because they don't want all the teasers, 8, 8.5, down to 2, 2.5. So even though there's variance, looking at the OddsLogic live odds screen, don't be fooled by it necessarily. We'll call this line 7.5 if you like Buffalo, 9 if you like New England. Total sitting 49. There is a 48.5 and 49.5 out there. So there is variance on the total as well as the side. New England's coming off a big blowout win against Carolina. That being said, only 16 first downs in that game. Only 307 total yards. They were outgained by the Panthers in that contest. So that's something of a concern. For this one, they had injuries as well in that contest. Multiple injuries in the secondary. Charles Woods got hurt. Carlton Davis got hurt. Jalen Hawkins got hurt. And while Christian Gonzalez made his season debut after missing the first 3 games for injury, it is a little bit of a banged up secondary right now for the Patriots. The question we want to ask ourselves, is New England a good team? Because we saw, like Carolina, for example, we know a team is bad and they're coming off a win and they go on the road, those teams can get clocked. And that's exactly what happened to the Panthers this week. So here's New England, coming off a win, going on the road, stepping up in class. The Patriots are a bad team. Maybe they get clocked too. Before I talk about Buffalo, and I got lots to say about Buffalo, I do want to let you know about what's going on right now at WagerTalk.com. We're running good, guys. It's been a good couple of weeks. I'm on a 19-8 all sports run, 70% across sports over the last 2 weeks. On an 11-4 football run. College football has been good. NFL's been good. MLB's been good. Clients are making money right now. Get on board. Join us. Let's partner up. Visit the website, wt.buzz/TC, or just go to WagerTalk.com. We got great packages available. $49 weekend warrior packages. We got weekly packages. We got monthly, seasonal, full year. Don't buy a play if you want to partner up. Let's get a package and make some money together. Again, wt.buzz/TC. Appreciate the likes very, very much. If you're watching this video, you like this type of content, hit that like button. Thank you. Comment below. Tell us what you think. And if you haven't done so already, more than 222,000 of you are following Wager Talk TV on YouTube. Follow us and get instant alerts every time these videos go live. So Buffalo's coming off a game in which they beat New Orleans by double digits. And yet, boy, you read the comments out of that locker room, they were not pleased with that performance. They were not sharp on either side of the football. 11 penalties for the Bills. Josh Allen got sacked 3 times. He threw a pick in that ball game. The D got gashed on the ground. They gave up 189 rushing yards on 5.6 yards per carry. New Orleans' first 9 drives. New Orleans had their first 9 drives ending in Bills territory. You know, Josh Allen after the game, we weren't doing ourselves any favors. A couple of bonehead penalties, bonehead mistakes. Throwing a pick doesn't help. This team is not amused by that performance. That being said, they outgained the Saints by 1.6 yards per play. And coming off a performance like that, again, what we saw last week correlates to what we're going to see this week in the sense of you expect to see A, improvements when teams play poorly, or B, declines when teams play great. And the Bills are coming off a game that they, again, they're facing a winless foe, non-conference, non-divisional game. They went through the motions a little bit. That won't be the case here against New England. Upstart New England, a team that the Bills looks to be their toughest challenge in the AFC East, especially considering how bad Miami and the Jets have looked in early season play. So it's a game the Bills are taking seriously, coming off a less than stellar showing. I'll put it this way. I have not yet released, as I record this, my plays for this week in the NFL for the clients. That being said, the Bills are on the quote-unquote short list. It's Buffalo or pass for this better on Sunday Night Football. Thank you so much for watching Wager Talk TV. Again, appreciate those likes, comments, and follows very, very much. Visit my homepage, wt.buzz/TC. Partner up and get on board with another winning weekend in football this week. Best of luck with all your bets, and thanks for watching Wager Talk TV. Cheers.
It's an AFC East matchup for Sunday Night Football on NBC. Could this be the new battle in the AFC East for years to come? Patriots, Bills? Well, it's looking that way because the Dolphins and Jets sure aren't doing much heavy lifting. I've got both the side and total in this Sunday night game free for you with analysis coming up right here, right now. Hi, this is Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com, right back here on Wager Talk TV. And we're breaking down your Sunday night primetime game on NBC, as I do each and every week for you. If you're liking these free play videos, all I ask is a quick thumbs up, like, and maybe a positive comment below if you have a couple extra seconds. Patriots look like they're for real here. Having a quarterback can cure a lot of ills in the NFL, and it looks like Drake May might be the answer for New England, coming off an incredible performance last week, a 155.6 QB rating, 82% completions against the Panthers. And keep in mind, the Panthers blew out the Falcons the week before that, came in and then got blown out themselves, 42-13, easily soaring over the total. In fact, the Patriots got to the over-under basically on their own. It was 43. They got to 42. They scored 33 a few weeks ago against Miami as well, a 60-point total game there. So there have been some high-scoring New England games this year, but it's because the defense has been a bit suspect at times. So I do like the over in this game Sunday night, over the 48.5, 49 in some spots. Should be a shootout. And if it's a high-scoring game, I think that gives the Patriots a chance to keep it close and stay within the point spread of plus 7.5 to plus 8. Now, as far as the side goes in this game, there's two different ways to play it. If you like Buffalo, I think you're better off using a 6-point teaser and getting it down to minus 1.5, minus 2. That puts the Bills in a basic straight-up win situation on that strong home field. Now, if you're joining us earlier in the weekend, of course, you can tie that up with some of this Sunday's games. If you're joining us late near Sunday night kickoff, you'll have to use some of next week's games if you have advanced lines, or if your sportsbook allows you to do an open-ended teaser, which, by the way, is a very powerful option because then you can take your time and add games next week. But the Bills do make a solid textbook 6-point teaser, taking them down to minus 1.5, minus 2 in a straight-up situation. But on the real point spread, I would rather have New England plus the 7.5 to plus 8. I think this team's flying a little bit under the radar right now, and they are the real deal. You look at their offensive stats this season, 7.6 yards per pass. Now, they face some weak opponents, so they are stepping up a bit. The Bills' defense has been stronger, but the Bills have also faced some weak offensive opponents. If you take out that Buffalo game in Week 1, they've faced the Jets, Dolphins, and Saints the last 3 games. Three of the worst teams in the league. Both teams are taking a step up in class here. I think both offenses shine. Lean over 48.5, 49. Also lean Patriots at plus 7.5 or more. Or if you want to go the Buffalo way, once again, they're better off on a teaser down to 1.5, 2. It's your choice how you want to attack this game on Sunday night. Let me know your thoughts. Do you prefer the side or total? Player props. I like a lot of the offensive guys over for both New England and Buffalo. One thing I will point out about this matchup, though, from a statistical matchup perspective, is the Bills' rush defense has been atrocious this year, 6 yards per carry. Now, obviously, a lot of that was Week 1. Derrick Henry, Lamar as well, did some real damage. They haven't really been challenged since. We'll see what this Patriot rushing attack is made of because they're only averaging 3.9 yards per carry. And we'll see if they can run the ball against what's been a pretty weak Buffalo rush D. Bills' pass defense on paper has been pretty strong, but I think they're facing a step up in class here against the Patriots. In fact, the Bills' 4 opponents this year are averaging just 6.1 yards per pass. Drake May and company averaging 7.6 yards per pass this season. I think both quarterbacks have good games. I like both quarterback props over, receiving props over as well for Sunday night. Hey, there you go. Quick hitter for you on the side and total. Let me know your thoughts. How are you attacking this Sunday night primetime game between the Patriots and Bills? And do you think this is the new rivalry for years to come? Are the Patriots back without Bill Belichick? Do they finally have a quarterback after Tom Brady left? Drake May's looked pretty good so far. We'll see if he's the real deal. We know Josh Allen's the real deal for Buffalo. Drop your comments below. Hey, include some analysis if you have time. Let's learn and earn and win together here on WagerTalk TV. If you want my official best bets, don't forget you can get them each and every day on my page, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. And right now you can get a 1-year all access with a several $100 discount. And you can sign up this weekend and get that special offer, which gets you all of college and pro football, baseball, and college and pro basketball every day and night for the next 365 days and nights. It's going to get you the rest of this year's football in the first month of next year, the entire college and pro basketball seasons, which are about to start, rest of the baseball playoffs through the World Series, and the entire regular season next year. This is a great time to get on board and save big. And when you use promo code SM365, you get an instant $811 discount. That gets it down to $3 a day, $1 a play. Full details are on my page right now, along with the daily free play. I post a bonus free play, the last cut for my best bet card, free for everyone each day. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com, and hey, get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. On the way out, don't forget to subscribe here to WagerTalk TV. Over 221,000 subscribers. Can't be wrong. It's free. Click subscribe and click the bell as well. You'll get an instant alert when I do the Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night games. Hey, yeah, Monday Night Football's up. Jags, Chiefs. Check out that free play video as well. And when you click the bell, you'll get an instant alert so you never miss out. Each and every day, free play videos are posted here for free on WagerTalk TV. You can also follow me on social media. I post links to my free plays and videos each and every day on Twitter, on X, at Steve Merrill, 2 R's, 1 L, MERRIL, at Steve Merrill on X and Instagram. And stay tuned here to WagerTalk TV because you know there's more free play videos, including that Monday night free play video, coming up next.
So I got a client play on Monday Night Football for the side between the Chiefs and the Jaguars. I'm going to talk about the total right here on this video. Teddy covers WagerTalk.com with a big game breakdown for Monday Night Football. Kansas City at Jacksonville. Right now, looking at the Odds Logic live odds screen, mostly 3.5s out there for the Chiefs. There are still a couple of 3s available if you want KC minus the points. If you want Jacksonville, plenty of 3.5s out there, mostly 3.5s out there. Total sitting 45.5 is a prevailing number as we speak. And we've seen the Jags offense work so far, mostly this season. I mean, Trevor Lawrence only threw for 5.6 yards per pass attempt last week, but no turnovers, no sacks. That's a positive sign for the Jacksonville Jaguars, most assuredly. And again, Lawrence's quote after the game, offensively, obviously, there's a lot more we can do. That's the great thing about it. We're finding ways to win, and we still feel like we can grow a lot as the offense. The running game, in particular, has been working for Jacksonville. Travis Etienne, a guy who I consider to be mostly a bust at the NFL level. He's been breaking off big gainers so far this season, and that's given the Jags some explosiveness on the offensive side of the ball, even though the passing game has been somewhat limited in that sense. Of course, Kansas City found some explosiveness last week in their blowout win against Baltimore. And by explosiveness, I mean by far the best offensive game of the season for the Kansas City Chiefs. Xavier Worthy had an instant impact. All right. All of a sudden, they got a guy who could take the top off the defense, and boom, everything's working in the running game. Worthy was also the leading rusher for KC last week. But before we get too excited about it, let's not forget, by the end of that game, Baltimore, a team with salary cap concerns, so their depth isn't necessarily there. Baltimore was missing 7 defensive starters last week. 7 by the end of the game. So it was KC lighting up a preseason defense. So yes, it was good, but take it with a grain of salt. Tap the brakes just a little bit on the Chiefs' enthusiasm, given who they were playing in that contest. That being said, we look at the Jaguars injury report. 8 starters got hurt in last week's game. Most notably, the defensive end, Trayvon Walker, who may or may not play here. He's got a wrist injury. The safety, Eric Murray, hurt his neck. Those are impact injuries for Jacksonville on the defense side of the football. And if that duo doesn't play, it's certainly bad news for the Jags, good news for Kansas City. From a total standpoint, well, the way I'm looking at it, we don't want those guys to play. Before I talk about it, let me let you know what's going on right now at WagerTalk.com. It's been a good run. I ended the weekend riding a 70% all sports run, every play, every day over the last 2 weeks. The baseball's been hot. NFL's been hot. College football's been hot. The last 2 weekends in NFL and college football, 11-4, 73%. Again, I don't put out a ton of releases. I'm not a guy that you're going to get huge volume with, but week in, week out, over the weekend, anywhere 7 to 10 plays in football action, and pretty consistent of late, most assuredly. So check out my homepage, wt.buzz/TC, to get on board. And I encourage you, if you do want to get on board, let's partner up. Don't buy a play. Get more with a package. We've got Weekend Warrior packages. We have weekly, monthly, seasonal, full year, and great deals available. Visit my page, wt.buzz/TC. Also, we appreciate the likes. We appreciate the comments. We appreciate the follows very, very much. If you haven't done so, more than 222,000 of you have subscribed to the Wager Talk YouTube channel. If you haven't done so, you get instant alerts every time these videos go live. So, we've got injuries on the Jags defense. We have Kansas City with their most explosive playmaker back in the lineup. We have a Jags offense that has avoided the turnovers that have plagued them in recent seasons. Trevor Lawrence has 4 interceptions in 4 games. True that. But we've seen a running game. They haven't lost a fumble yet this year. And the decision-making from Lawrence and Liam Cohen's offense, he gets more comfortable every week. He really does. So one team just got their most explosive weapon back. The other team isn't making mistakes. The methodical nature of their drives is a good thing. I expect points on Monday Night Football. Last week, 2 duds on Monday. I guess the Jets-Dolphins game was okay. But it was no thriller. I think this one might be more thrilling. And certainly from a point standpoint, I think we'll see a fair few on Monday night. So I look for the Jaguars and the Chiefs to go up and over the total. Monday Night Football. If you want the side, check out the page, www.buzz.com/TC. This is a client play for me this weekend. Thanks for watching. Best of luck with all your bets. And stay tuned right here on this channel for more quality video content. Cheers.
Monday Night Football, Chiefs, Jaguars. I've got the free play side and total coming up free for you in this video with analysis right here, right now. Hi, this is Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com, right back here on WagerTalk TV, breaking down your primetime game Monday night, 8:15 Eastern, KC at Jacksonville. Look at line this summer, I believe, was Kansas City around 4.5. Now it's 3.5, not a huge adjustment. It's sitting right above that key number of 3. Total sitting around 46.5 here as we head into the weekend, doing this video a couple days ahead of time, as I always do for you. And by the way, if you're liking these free play videos, I try to give you the Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night games free each and every week here. Thumbs up, like, and if you have a couple extra seconds, a positive comment below, and I will keep them coming each and every week here on Wager Talk TV. All right, Kansas City Chiefs, impressive win last week. So the question becomes, do they stay focused here for this road game at Jacksonville? I think they do. The fact that it's a Monday night primetime game, spotlight game, should have them looking to play here. 0-2 start against the Chargers and Eagles, who might be two of the best teams in the NFL. Not going to overlook that. Beat up on the Giants in that Sunday night spot, and then a huge focus spot against Baltimore last week. Yes, maybe the Ravens just aren't that good this year, but it's still pretty impressive they put up the 37 points against Baltimore. And I do think this offense is starting to click. Keep in mind the 22 points against the Giants could have been more as well in week 2. And coming in this year after that blowout loss in the Super Bowl, I was concerned about the offense, but I felt like they made some improvements on the offensive line. Might take a month or so to see it gel. Receiving core is still suspect, but I think they'll have plenty of success in this game against a equally suspect Jacksonville defense, which hasn't really been tested this year. You know, they're giving up 6 yards per pass, but that's against a mediocre slate of opponents that average 6 yards per pass. Jacksonville's given up 5.2 yards per play defensively against a terrible schedule that averages just 4.9. You look at who they've played so far this year: Carolina, Cincinnati, Houston, San Francisco, injured teams, weak offensive teams. Huge step up in class against the Chiefs. And although on the surface you would normally think this is a flat spot after the Baltimore win, and with, oh, by the way, the Detroit Lions on deck next Sunday in the primetime Sunday night game, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. This is a veteran team. Patrick Mahomes knows how to get up and play. I don't think they overlook this Monday night game on the road against a conference rival, or not really a rival, but a conference opponent. If you're going to play it, I would lay the 3.5 with the Chiefs. And I also would look for the over here for the reasons I just mentioned. I think Kansas City will have offensive success in this game. Jacksonville always capable, maybe the little backdoor late touchdown, which could get this one up and over. Jags haven't really thrown the ball well this year, but they have run the ball well, averaging 144 rushing yards a game, 5 yards a carry. And guess what? Kansas City's run D has been their weakness this year, giving up almost 5 yards per rush. So it's Jacksonville's offensive strength against the Kansas City defense's weakness. So I think this game gets up and over for that reason. Lean Chiefs, lean over 46.5 as well if you're looking to play the total in this one. Monday Night Football, 8:15 Eastern on ESPN and ABC. Hey, what are your thoughts on this game? You know, Kansas City and the over would get you looking team total over. The problem is that it's 24.5 in most spots. Would have liked it better at 24 or less. But shop around. Maybe by Monday night you can find a team total over 24 with the Chiefs. What are your thoughts on this game? Side, total, player props. How are you attacking it? I'd look for some Jacksonville rushing props over. Running back props, rushing yards props over, as I mentioned. Would also look for some Kansas City offensive props in general, player props over on that end. But if you're looking Jacksonville more specific on the running back props, I think they could exploit what's looked like a very suspect KC run defense. But comment below. Hey, include some analysis if you have time. Let's learn and earn and win together here on Wager Talk TV. And by the way, I do truly read the comments and I reply back. I love the support. And once again, all I ask is a thumbs up, like, and I will keep these free play videos coming each and every week this NFL season. Make sure you subscribe to Wager Talk TV. Over 221,000 subscribers can't be wrong. It's free. Click subscribe and click that bell as well so you get an instant alert. And you'll know right away when these free play videos are posted each and every day of the week for college and pro football, baseball playoffs, and also college and pro basketball, which starts later this month. By the way, if you want my personal best bets, you go to my page directly and you will see them there each and every day. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. And it's so simple. If I have a best bet that I'm personally using, I send it to all my subscribers. It's been that way for over 29 years since I started back in August of 1996. And that last cut, by the way, for my best bet card is still a pretty strong opinion. So what do? I post that for free for everybody on my page. So go check out the best bets. Check out the daily free play with analysis. And also check out a very special promo code, SM365, which gets you the next 365 days of all sports, all access for $3 a day, about $1 a play. That includes the rest of the college and pro football seasons through the first month next year, the complete college and pro basketball seasons, which are about to start, the rest of baseball through the World Series, including the complete regular season next year into the playoffs. This is a great time to get on board with 5 major sports, 365 all day, all access for about $1 a play. But you got to use promo code SM365 because that gets you an instant $811 discount at checkout when you choose the 1-year all access. Don't have to memorize this. It's all on the page. Full details on my page along with that daily free play. Check it out right now. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. And hey, get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. On the way out, follow me on social media at Steve Merrill, 2 R's, 1 L, MERRIL, at Steve Merrill on X and Instagram. And stay tuned here to Wager Talk TV because you know there's more free play videos coming up next.
Last call here on Wager Talk. I'm the prop queen, Ariel. Kind of an iffy NFL slate. Like, there's outside of Broncos, Eagles, no game has really caught my eye. I feel like we got a bunch of bad teams, but we have MLB playoffs as well. I'm really excited for today's show because we have some of the best people to not only talk about NFL today, we've got MLB, and I know we've got WNBA finals as well. If anyone cares about the WNBA, I know that people follow it all year long. I know that my guy who comes on the Prop Queen pod, James Young, he liked the Mercury to upset the Aces. So we've got a lot going on in the wide world of sports. And you guys know that the best way to follow along on the action is to make sure you have your Odds Logic screen up and ready to go. It's oddslogic.com/prop queen. And you get all the current lines, the opening lines, how they've moved, which books have the best numbers. So make sure to check that out. We know who has the best numbers because coming on the show today, we've got Gianni The Greek live from Las Vegas. He's going to tell us everything we need to know about today's slate. I know he's got Major League Baseball. I know he's got his Phillies hat probably on, even though they lost yesterday in a miserable way to the Dodgers. We've got NFL lines to talk about. Then we've got John Murray joining us, as always, from the Superbook in Las Vegas. He's going to tell us where all the sharp action is, what their needs are for today at the Superbook. You know that we always like to be on the side of the sportsbook because if you're going to be on the side of the sportsbook, they typically are the ones that win more than us. And last, but certainly not least, from here at Wager Talk, Joe Rainieri going to join the show with me for the first time this season. He knows everything that you need to know as one of the best handicappers we've got here on Wager Talk. Joe Rainieri going to talk NFL. We'll talk Major League Baseball. We are locked, loaded, ready to go. I've got some props to give out as well. I'll give them out at the end of the show. I have them on the propqueen.com newsletter already for the 1 o'clock slate of games here on the East Coast. I'll update it for 4 o'clock a little bit later. Running a bit behind. I've had a busy week. I'm here at my parents' house again. And Kelly in Vegas, I know she was at a wedding all weekend. I definitely don't miss her. I'm glad I got a couple of days away from her. She's already trying to set me up with some guys she met at a bar. Like, enough of Kelly, right? We need to like her on a little hiatus. I'm just kidding. But I'm going to give her all she needs to know from today's show. John Murray's going to laugh at the stories I have for him today about what Kelly and I have talked about the last couple of days. But first, the best, my good friend, who I am so excited to hear all of the insights that we need for today. It's Gianni The Greek, live from Las Vegas. Gianni, you're wearing the Phillies hat, even though they miserably lost yesterday.
I had such a good Saturday. It doesn't even matter about the Phillies. I mean, it's still a long series, but yeah, it's all
Don't
about.
you feel like that always happens, though, that the team that you essentially root for has to lose in order for your bets to win? And then if your team wins, sometimes you have a bad betting day?
Yeah, to be honest with you, my focus was all over the UFC and Saturday college football because I had so much college football action. And yeah, it ended up crushing college football, ended up hitting a 5% in UFC. So it ended up being a good day overall. The Phils are behind. The team that wins, if the road team wins game one, they've won the series 60% of the time. So I have two futures right now that are both behind. I have the Phillies and I have Seattle. Both of those were my futures, and both were in a great spot when the playoffs started. But right now, both are behind the 8 ball, down 1-0. Again, the visitor, when they win game one, they've gone on to win the series 6 out of 10 times.
Yanni, also the team to win game one in these best of 5 series tend to win 72% of the time. So those stats are pretty telling as to how important game one really is.
Yep.
We can stick to Major League Baseball. We've got two games today, American League playing today, National League playing tomorrow. What early action have you seen on the game 2 of the divisional round?
They're coming right back, betting the favorites and betting both road favorites today. They're on the Yankees to even up that series, and they're on Detroit as well over Seattle. Historically, in the semis, when the road team wins game one, like Detroit did, in game 2, they're 43%. So it usually close to 6 out of 10 times, a team like Seattle's been able to even out the series 1-1. On the other one, Yankees and Toronto, the home team that goes up 1-0, they win game 2 about 54% of the time, but they win the series close to 7 out of 10 times. So Toronto's in a really good spot historically. If they, they could get the W today and follow that trend, it's not going to be good for the Yankees. But yeah, so far today, like I said, the Yankees are getting money and Seattle's getting money, but it's not as one-sided. And a lot of that has to do with the football action. Most of baseball right now is being parlayed. They're parlaying baseball together or they're tying it in with football. But it's not getting that single game action you usually will see in the playoffs. But again, that could change between now and first pitch.
Yanni, what I love to hear, which isn't about the Toronto Blue Jays being in any kind of good spot, I want to hear about some winners on the football side of things. And before we get to the NFL, I have to give you the biggest props for calling that upset over Penn State yesterday with UCLA.
Like stealing. You know, I'm so
you
mad.
You had money line, right?
Yeah, I had a nickel on it. That's it. I put at plus because I thought the take back wasn't that good at plus 1,500. So it was a 3% play for me. So I was going to put 3 dimes, and I ended up putting 2,500 at plus 25.5 and a nickel on the money line at plus 1,500. So it was a nice score. It was a nice score, but it's not like I had like 5 dimes on it or anything like that. I wish.
Any situational spots today in the NFL that stand out like UCLA did yesterday?
I wish it was that
He's
easy.
like, no.
Someone asked about Dallas real quick. I like the Jets. I like the Jets in the first half. I'll let you know. I bet the Jets. I took a half a point in the first half. I also like them for the game. I think the Jets are in a decent spot at home against Dallas here. I don't think Dallas should be a road favorite. To be honest with you, it's a 1-2 football team right now. They're coming off a tie. They looked good against Green Bay. Don't get me wrong. But the last time they traveled on the road as 1-point favorites, they lost the game by 17 to Chicago. So I don't have all that much trust in Dallas again. And as long as the team's winless, like the Jets are, you still have that pressure on you to get a W. So there may be turmoil. There may be lack of motivation here or there, what's going on in the locker room. But at the end of the day, you need a W. And I think that's a driving, motivating force. So I do like the Jets. I like the Jets at home. They're 0-2 there. Again, I don't think they should be dogs. Shouldn't be favorites, but I think that should be a pick-em game at worst.
A lot of questions in the chat right now asking about teasers, especially because we have a ton of 1.5s out there today. What is the best two-team teaser?
Yeah, and the key is to wait and see what these lines do, because if those 1.5s go to 1, we don't want to tease them no more. But if they go up to 1.5, it's even better for us. If it goes up to 2, even better for us. So you don't want to rush the teaser, because right now what I'm looking at Houston as a 1-point road favorite. I'm looking at Dallas as a 1-point road favorite. I'm looking at Miami as a 1-point road favorite. We have strict rules to the teasers. That's why they're 8-1 so far this year. I don't break those rules. So unless those lines do what they're supposed to do between now and the next, hour and 40 minutes, they won't qualify. But what does automatically qualify right now are the New York Giants plus 8.5. And I'll tell you right now, I am on the Saints. I gave out the Saints at a pick 'em to my subscribers. So I did my job. They're up to minus 2.5 at some places right now. So win or lose, we placed a great bet on the Saints, but that's irrelevant. The opinion of what I like is irrelevant when I bet these teasers. The only reason I bet these teasers is because I know they're plus EV if I'm able to go through those key numbers. And that's exactly what the Giants offer me. Couple that with a low total, that's exactly what you want in a teaser. Less points means each point's worth more, and you're getting 6 extra points, so that's what you want. Take the Giants up to plus 8. That's a good teaser. Flip side of that same coin, Arizona. We tease Arizona down the -0.5 if that stays at -7.5. If it doesn't, we're going to have to move down to Buffalo and take Buffalo down the -1.5, -2 at the worst. So we definitely have teaser options available, but the key is to wait. I know that the goal of being a winning sports bettor is getting out ahead of the market, not when it comes to teasers, because we want an efficient market. We want the market to be as efficient as possible, because that gives us the highest probability that the game's going to land near the spread. We want the lines to be sharp, because remember, the average NFL game finishes 10 points off the spread. That doesn't help us with a teaser because we're only getting 6. So we need to narrow down those games where the 6 points actually going to matter. Because remember, the average NFL game, I'm not repeating myself by accident, is 10 points off the spread. So those 6 points are only going to help you in select spots. You got to be very selective. But again, there are a lot of teaser opportunities on the board. If you're in the steam room today, about 15 minutes, 20 minutes before kickoff, we will piece those together and release some premiums as well, like we did last week with the teasers. But yeah, that's what I would look at. I'd look at the favorites to tease down, 7.5, 8, 8.5 tease down, and 1.5, 2, 2.5 tease up. It really is that simple, but you can't have a gray area. Like it's got to be the number and not, oh, because I like it. It's 1.5 at this place. So it's a 1. No. It's got to be across the board, or at least at the sharper shops.
Yanni, you mentioned that Saints-Giants game. I feel like all week, a lot of people have had very mixed reviews on it. I saw that the line opened at Saints actually being home dogs at +1.5 early on Sunday. Now, a week later, obviously it went -1.5 Saints, almost like -2.5. You said, I like the Saints as well. Why do you like the Saints over the Giants, even with the line flip?
Here's the problem. Trend-wise, it's not a good spot for the Saints. Like historically, these teams that are 0-4 and favored, they haven't done well for you. But again, with trends, you got to take each game individually. And in this matchup, it goes back to what I talked about with the winless team. You have a Giants team that took the pressure off of them. That was a huge win for them last week. Not only did they finally get a W, but they did it with their new franchise quarterback. So that takes a lot of pressure off. Obviously, they're flying high and they're in a positive, but now you're traveling on the road with that same rookie quarterback who hasn't played a road game yet. And let's not forget, if you look at his stats last week, he didn't go out there and win the game for the Giants. He just didn't make mistakes to lose the game. I mean, he only threw the ball about 20 times. He threw for 100 yards passing. It's not like you lit it up for 400 yards. And now you're traveling on the road, going into hostile New Orleans, nice home field advantage, winless team that's definitely motivated to get a W. And I think power rating wise, they're right near each other. I don't think, I don't see where the Giants would have been opened as the road favorite like they did. I think there's a lot of recency bias to that line. Again, where it sits now at 2.5, I don't love it. Laying the points with the Saints. I think the teaser on the Giants makes the best bet right now. But at a pick 'em, I just did not think it was going to last. I thought the line was going to keep climbing, and that's why I got out ahead of it. And I think the Saints at home, they've had back-to-back road games, tough road games at Seattle, at Buffalo. Now you return home, and finally, not to go long, just look at their splits, their home and road splits. Look at the point differential. This is a team that plays a lot better at home. I always say, when a team's 8-0 at home, 8-0 on the road, they don't have a home field advantage. They play just as good as home as they do on the road. But when you see a huge point differential at home compared to on the road, then we have some home field advantage. And I see that for the Saints.
Yanni, one number that stands out, I'm a big Ravens fan.
Oh, yeah.
The Ravens are without their best linebacker, Roquan Smith. Everybody on the Ravens defensively is hurt. Their quarterback, Lamar Jackson, is out. The Texans, I felt, should be laying at least 2.5 in this spot on the road, I know, in Baltimore. But Cooper Rush is your quarterback, a banged-up defense that didn't even look good when they weren't banged up. For the Texans to only be laying 1.5, I find a little bit fishy, no?
Yeah, and let's not forget, the Texans, the 3 games they lost by 1 score. Like, this is a team that could very easily, be a 2, 3, 4-win football team had the ball bounced their way a little bit. The negative to Houston is now you have a Baltimore team with their backs against the wall. They've been favored every single game. Now you're getting them at a dog price. So that's something new we don't usually see with the Baltimore Ravens. I get the injuries. I understand the injuries, but we just saw San Francisco on Thursday night with all those injuries show up and beat a Rams team. So we know in the NFL, just that the any given Sunday cliche is actually legit. And with Baltimore, let's also not forget, just 2 weeks back on paper, they were arguably the best team in the NFL. Even after losing the Buffalo the way they did in that first game, they lost by 1. They should have won that game. It was highly improbable that they lost. Then the next week they come back as 13.5-point favorites and win by 20, 30 points. So up until going into September 22nd, that was just 2 weeks ago, Baltimore was arguably the best team in football. Now they're home dogs. That's a big change in a very short time. And I'm not sure that's warranted. Again, I understand the injuries, but I think the market usually overreacts and we don't quantify the worth of players very well. And I always look at what's that's one of the biggest correlations to victory, value over replacement, other than passing success rate. So you look at a lot of these players that are stepping up, like what is really the drop off from the starters, especially when the starters haven't been playing all that well, kind of like we saw with last week. Why I like the Giants. Where's the drop off from the starter to the backup? There wasn't any. There wasn't really any drop off. So with Baltimore, it's not like the starters have been out there and playing great. So I don't see where the big adjustment is. Again, hopefully this is a 1.5 point spread by the time we get into the steam room, and I could tease Baltimore up because you got a total of 41. And if I could get Baltimore at plus 7.5, I think that at home, that's a great bet. I love that bet. Win or lose, I think that's a nice plus EV spot. Getting Baltimore with a low total at home, up over a touchdown. That's how I want to play that game. And knowing it's a sharp side. At 2.5, it caught steam. I saw it in multiple accounts. I didn't bet it or release the subscribers because I'm hoping to tease it. But at 2.5, it did get steamed. So there are sharp bettors that do like Baltimore today.
Speaking of sharp bettors, Gianni, where else are you seeing the sharp action coming in today?
All right, I'll give you some of the steam that came in throughout the week. Start off with Denver over to Eagles. That's become the dog of the week. Even I'm starting to see that the accounts in the back end, the recreational bettors are starting to line up on Denver. That worries me a little bit. New Orleans, talked about New Orleans at Pick'em and New Orleans -1. I gave you Baltimore at plus 2.5. Detroit, again, they bet Detroit last week. They're coming right back with Detroit again. Wise guys and the public on Detroit. Caution there. Cleveland, that game started. They took the 3 and a hook on Cleveland. I sent that out to subscribers. Miami at +1. Got sharp money. Arizona -7.5. Caught steam. Public's also betting that one as well. And then Seattle -3 also got steam. So, and the Raiders +7. I just gave you a ton. Denver, New Orleans, Baltimore, Detroit, Cleveland, Miami, Arizona, Seattle. You got all the sharp sides. Your day's set.
Day's absolutely set. Gianni, I know that the game you also just mentioned, you mentioned Vegas, the Colts -6.5. You always talk about regressing to the mean. I feel like we haven't seen it too much yet with the Colts, but it feels like it's coming, no?
Yeah, it has to, exactly. It really does. Because again, here's what they're doing right. Right now, Daniel Jones has the second highest passing efficiency in all the NFL. The only one with a higher is Purdy, who has only played 2 games. So Daniel Jones is at the top right now, passing success rate. That's one of the highest correlations to winning as far as a stat goes. So until that starts to fade a little bit, I'm afraid to fade Indianapolis. I agree with you. I do think there's a lot of recency bias, and it's a spot. Why over a touchdown, I could see the love for the Raiders, and especially coming off a loss like Indianapolis is now returning back home where they were crushing it. But let's not forget, at home, they outperformed the betting market with Miami, with Denver. Now they're big favorites. This team went from being a 1 point favorite, now being a 7 point favorite. I agree with you. I think that's too much too soon, but I have to start seeing the stats regress as well. Like I'm expecting it to happen, but on paper, they're still not doing that. But Daniel Jones is not going to be number 1 in passing success rate when the season ends. So I think we should start to looking for spots to fade Indianapolis. And it looks like wise guys are already doing that.
So Gianni says Daniel Jones will not be MVP of the NFL this year.
No.
Gianni, what are you promoting today?
All right. I got my NFL package up. I might upgrade something to a 5%. I'm not changing the price. It's going to stay there $29 because all the stuff in there is gold. I told you guys coming into the season, again, this ain't the tout. I was going to have the best college football and NFL season I've had in a really long time. So far, so good. Over 100 units, 110 units won in college football, and currently number 1 in the regular season in the NFL. And I love today's card. I already have 4% in there. The 3% already went off of Cleveland at +4. We're going to have a couple more premiums in there. We're going to have the teasers as well. And the steam room goes off in 40 minutes. So make sure you join me and join me for the rest of the football season. It's going to be a good couple months. We got baseball, MMA, college basketball coming, NBA, NHL. It's a good time to do damage. And best of luck to you guys today, whether you follow or fade. Hope you guys make some money.
Yanni, thank you so much. Thank you for
Thanks,
UCLA
Ariel.
yesterday. We'll talk to you again next week. Coming on now, my good friend, who I have to talk to a little bit about something not related to football to start. We've got to get our girl under control. Coming on from Las Vegas, the Superbook at the Westgate. One of my closest friends, one of the best people to join the show. I am assigned to knowing everything that the Superbook needs today. The group chat is called Needs for a reason because we need to know the needs. John Murray, happy Sunday.
I'm really glad I'm not in that group chat. You know, isn't
You
it?
should be glad that you're not in the chat with me, Kelly, and Dan Lifshatz, because Kelly decided last night that she was going to some bar in Florida after, her sister-in-law's wedding, where there was clearly things consumed. And she told me she found me a man who then proceeded to DM me about 18 times between 9 p.m. and 2 in the morning last night.
Kelly,
Normal. She found a
Kelly or
normal
the
one.
man? Kelly did or the man did?
Oh, the man did.
What'd you think of this guy?
Is that normal? She says I'm
no.
overreacting.
How does he? Is he a good-looking guy? What do you think of him?
Meh.
So. Okay.
Meh.
All right. Well, I
Not
don't
worth
know.
18 DMs between 9 p.m. and 2 a.m. We got to get her under control.
No. Well, I don't
She's
think
got
that's
to be real
possible.
back in, JM. I'm going to trust you on Kelly and Murray to do that. Can you do that?
Well, I know Kelly and I both were disappointed on Thursday night when the Rams lost to the 49ers. That hurt our survivor chances a little bit. And then I guess she just went into a tailspin
Yes.
after that. Is that what happened?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened because, you decide to go for it on 4th down in overtime and run the football up the gut on one of the best run Ds in football. That made sense,
Yeah.
Sean McVay. At least there's accountability for it.
At least he didn't kick the field goal because then we would have lost either way, right? Because if it
There
ends
was
in
a
a
little
tie.
more time left.
True. That's true.
You could have maybe kicked another field goal after that to win.
Can I say that I think it's nice that even when your girl is in a tailspin, she's looking out for you?
Always.
Yeah.
She just
That's
booked a flight to move me to a new apartment to which I haven't even signed the papers to move yet.
What?
Right? I know. We've got to get her under control. Maybe I'll just
She's a
bring
good
her to, do a little rehab on her. We'll see.
Good
Not
luck. Yeah, you
alcoholic
two
rehab,
together.
like mental rehab. Thanks.
Yeah, the two of you together doesn't sound like rehab.
18 DMs before NFL Sunday. Correct. Absolutely correct. We need the needs, though, of the day, and that's exactly what JM is here for. John Murray, what does the Superbook need today?
We definitely need the Raiders. They're in Indianapolis this morning. Sounds like maybe no Bowers for the Raiders is the reason why this line's moving up. That'll be a big need for us. Raiders +7, a lot of money on the Colts. -7. Looks like we need Dallas. There's some money that came in overnight on the New York Jets. That's going to be a tough watch. I don't think I can sit through. I don't think I can sit through that game.
No.
In the afternoon, it looks like the big ones are going to be Cincinnati for sure. I'm sure the NFL thought this was going to be a marquee game. That's why they put it at 4:25 Eastern. Lions and Bengals, and then we're going to need the Commanders, the football team.
Wow.
We'll need the Commanders against the Chargers. There's some money that came in on the Chargers -2.5. They are now -3. It doesn't look that bad right now, but I'm sure by the time the game kicks off tonight, we'll need New England big because all the parlays will
I
go
was going to ask that
Buffalo.
question.
Oh
the
yeah,
primetime games.
Oh yeah. We'll need New England pretty big by the time the game starts. Right now, it's not a real big decision, but I know the parlays will accumulate throughout the day today, right? So we'll need that, and then tomorrow night's game is pretty interesting. I think Jacksonville is one very questionable pass interference call on Travis Hunter away from being 4-0. Actually, it was a terrible call. Let's just say what it was. And Kansas City looked like they got right last week against your boys.
Yeah,
Kansas
but
City,
did they really?
I said they looked like they did. They're -3.5. Right now, we actually don't have much of a need on that game. But again, I would imagine by the time the game starts tomorrow night, we'll probably be rooting for Jacksonville.
I was hoping that you would say that. Jacksonville felt very tempting a few days ago. I wanted to take the +3.5. Then I felt I was being baited into taking a home dog at +3.5. So I laid off of it. I just don't see Kansas City being worth laying 3.5 on the road.
Don't you think that somebody like you, with all you have going on in your life, don't you think that you have better things to do on a Monday night than bet against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid?
Probably.
There's got to be
But I
like
do it every time.
but there's going to be playoff baseball tomorrow, and you could
I
be
bet against Mahomes in the Super Bowl and it worked.
well
This
last
time.
year. Okay. Yeah. Well, what about
Just
the
one
other times?
time.
What about the other times? I mean, I don't know. I think you'd be better off DMing the guy that DM'd you 100 times than betting against Mahomes. Why put yourself through it? I learned that lesson a long time ago because I spent so much of the early
But
part
you're
of my
going to be
career.
rooting for the Jags.
I'll be rooting for the Jags, but like I spent so many years betting against Belichick and Brady, and I don't want to spend the next
You could
decade
have
of
bet
my
against
life.
Belichick yesterday.
Oh, that's a little bit different, but okay, touche. Why put yourself through it? Why bet against Mahomes and Reed? I don't know. There's got to be something better to do.
That's fair. Another game that I thought was very interesting this week, and I just mentioned this with Gianni, was the Giants and the Saints. What have you seen in the Giants and Saints game since the line flip?
Yeah, you know what? So we opened this one last Sunday at Pick'em. We saw some money come in right away on the Giants. We moved to Giants favored, and then the money started coming back on New Orleans during the week. Early in the week, had a big syndicate play New Orleans at Pick'em. Now we have New Orleans -2. It looks like we do need New Orleans for a little in that game. Not a significant need, but there's a little bit of public money on the G-Men. Jackson Dart. New Orleans hasn't looked that bad. I know that sounds funny, but they've looked semi-competent outside of the game in Seattle where they got blown out.
Semi-competent.
Semi-competent.
Speaking of Seattle hosting Tampa Bay. Saw the line move from Sunday to -2.5, -3 Seattle. What are you seeing in that game?
Yeah, I think the line moved up a little bit because Tampa Bay's got a lot of people out. So we got as high as Seattle -4. There was a respected bettor that took 3. But then the money did come back on Tampa Bay at 4, a little bit at 3.5. We've settled at 3.5 right now. No real decision right now. We got about, 3.5, 4 hours till kickoff, 4.5 hours till kickoff. So we'll see what happens there. Right now, it's a pretty evenly bet game.
How about this Broncos and Eagles game?
Well, I'd say that's the best game of the morning. There definitely was some sharp money on Denver early in the week. They took Denver +5, +4.5. We got down to 3.5, and then they bet us Philly -3.5. Very respected player. Laid 3.5 on that game. We moved back to 4. It looks like we're going to need Philly right now. There's a lot of public money on Denver.
Wow.
Yeah. Interesting one.
They may,
Yeah.
I'm going to say that in the chat, they may need Philly.
You're doing that. You're doing the chat live. You're not even.
Oh yeah, I've got to tell them right away. They've got to bet against all the public action, and they want to be on your side, Dan.
Ariel, the public wins all the time.
But they don't have as big a building as the Westgate.
Okay. Well, no, the place does pretty well.
Right. It's still standing. It's still there. You still have a job.
I think it'll be standing. We got a very good facility.
Some people who aren't you don't have jobs.
No, that's true, I guess. Yeah.
I'm gonna send you off on a high note. Our favorite sport, baseball. Well, I guess yours is soccer, but we're gonna pretend it doesn't exist. Major League Baseball, American League playoffs, Game 2, American League Division Series today. Who do you guys need in the ALDS today? Who do you need in the NLDS tomorrow?
I'd say honestly, we're rooting for the Yankees. We've got a very good futures position on the Yankees. We don't have a lot of money to report on Game 2 of either of the American League games so far today, but just like macro level, I'd say we're rooting for New York. We really want to get Chicago out of there, the Chicago Cubs. We want to see them get knocked out. I'd say we're rooting for the Cubs and the Dodgers in the National League, Yankees in the American League, and...
Wait, you meant Cubs to lose?
No, I'd like to see that. Yeah, yes. Oh, did I say Cubs? I'm sorry. We want the Cubs to lose. Good catch.
Cubs to lose, but Dodgers to win?
Excuse me. We want the Dodgers and the Brewers. Excuse me. Good catch. Dodgers, Brewers, get the Cubs out of there. On the American League side, we want the Yankees. We're indifferent right now on Detroit and Seattle, although I think that's a really fun series. And it'll be fun with Scooble going tonight on the road, but we don't really have a big position.
Tonight. I'm very excited for it.
That's really good stuff. Really good stuff.
Really good stuff from you, JM. John Murray, we appreciate you. Catch him on Kelly and Murray every week with our girl Kelly in Vegas. We love taking advantage of her not listening to the show right now and talking behind her back, which you can always watch live if she would like to. John, have a fun, fantastic Sunday watching baseball.
I will, and soccer.
What is football? We don't know. John Murray, see you next week. Coming up now, our last-ish guest of the day, because I think Dan's going to come on and talk some anytime touchdown props at the way end of the show. I haven't spoken to this guy in a long time, but when I tell you that I have known this guy longer than anybody else in the sports gambling business, I'm not kidding, because he is one of the first people I ever worked with when joining the sports betting world. He has been a good friend to me. He has been awesome to learn from for the last, oh my gosh, already like 8 years that I've known him. Let's bring him on for the first time since I'm hosting Last Call on a Sunday. It is Joe Ranieri. What's up, Joe?
What is going on, Prop Queen? Always a pleasure, and certainly hope our Yankees get their heads out of their ass here a little bit later today.
You know, it's funny. Everybody else said, I didn't expect to win game one, so I'm okay with this loss. I said, what? They weren't that bad to start the first 5 innings. I would have been okay with losing if Heel gave up like 5 runs. It wasn't that bad until Aaron Boone decided to bring Luke Weaver in the 7th again for some godforsaken reason. How much do you believe in the Yankees today with Max Fried on the mound against the young rookie Trey Savage?
Well, I believe and they just beat the other upstart rookie from the Red Sox in early. And listen, they've been bouncing back. They've been red hot down the stretch here. They know what the deal is here. I don't trust the rookie. I don't trust that Toronto bullpen. And I believe Fried will do exactly what he needs to do, keep this game within reach until the bats get hot, and I think they will.
You like anything today in the American League Division Series between both these games? Did you bet anything, or are you just strictly NFL today?
No, you got to bet baseball. It's definitely the Yankees for me here today, but it's also, if it's not broke, Ariel, why are we fixing it? 11 innings last night, Scooble on the mound today against Castillo. I took them in the first 5 on the money line, the Tigers here. I believe that the Tiger bats will get to Castillo before Seattle will somehow manage to get the Scooble. So at that price, I'm good to go. Give me the Tigers in the first 5, and then it's anybody's guess with what the bullpens had to go through last night in 11 innings.
Yeah, and the Tigers have just been leaving so many runners on base, which is the only concern for me, but any kind of under in the situation could be good as well. At least for me in that series, I'm like, Tigers, Mariners, those bats, I don't trust any of those bats. I don't trust them in runners in scoring position. So unders for me all the way throughout that series. Yankees, I try not to bet them because I just can't deal with them and the Ravens today. The NFL, we've got a huge card going on, Joe. Which would you say, like a week ago, you saw these lines come out, now it's been a week, which game stands out the most to you?
Oh, there's a lot of crap here today. I mean, I'm watching one of them right now, unfortunately, with the Browns.
Well, we know that the London game is going to be crap, just like Thursdays usually are.
And somehow or another, they're going to manage to go over this low total, too, which is hilarious. But listen, there were some interesting spots here, right? What is Denver? Is Denver, have they figured some things out? Is Bo Nix actually going to win a game on the road? I do not trust this Philadelphia offense. I think it's far too inconsistent, but they managed to win games. At some point, that's going to regress. Is today the day? I don't know. Listening to John Murray and Gianni here, it seems like a lot of people believe Denver is the opportunity here for the upset. I have my doubts. You know, I'm a Jet fan, Ariel, so I enjoy pain. But the amount of money coming in on the Jets now is absolutely bonkers. It's down to what? 1? It probably will go to a pick 'em before it's all said and done. I just think maybe the over is the best way to look in that game because I'm not sure which defense is worse right now, the Jets or the Cowboys. But I can pretty much see that we're going to get a ton of points in that game here. And I don't know how Miami is a favorite on the road against anybody on a short week. But yet here we are in Carolina, and Miami is actually a favorite. So definitely some head-scratching moves, including your Ravens, by the way. Is Lamar worth 9 points? 10? Wasn't the look ahead at this game 9-10 points? And now what? I mean, what is he worth?
Gianni earlier, I said it was very fishy to me seeing that Houston was only a 1.5 point favorite, and I know they're on the road, but to just be a 1.5, I thought it should at least be a 2.5 point favorite for the Houston Texans in Baltimore with all the injuries. It's not just Lamar. It's Roquan Smith.
Yeah.
It's their D-backs are injured. There's a lot. And Matabike is out for the year. Kyle Van Noy's going to play injured because they really have nobody else to turn to. There's just an entire defense that's banged up outside of the quarterback Lamar Jackson being out.
Yeah, well, the defense is the bigger issue. I think Cooper Rush is more than capable of being able to hold down the fort there with some of the weapons that are still available on the offensive side. But again, we're talking about a Houston team here that had 6 points going into the middle of the third quarter against Tennessee. It's not like I think they're going to go on the road and run away with this game. So much like the 49ers couldn't win against the Rams, right? Because they had nobody. Who are they throwing to? Don't be shocked if Baltimore wins this game outright.
It's just like the week of the 49ers, and seeing that game was absolutely insane. Ooh. The primetime games are interesting too, Joe. I know our guy CT Bet's going to be watching that Pats-Bills game. With the Bills, I saw them go -9.5 to -8.5. I also find the Jacksonville game interesting. When they were getting 3.5, now it's down to 3. The primetime games, what are you thinking?
Yeah, well, the Bills are an interesting group, right? Because they're a little bit different this year than they have been in years past, mostly because they become a power running team. And they are just decided that they are going to run the ball down your throat. The problem is New England with Vrabel, well, they've been pretty good against the run so far this year. So they're going to have to figure some things out. Josh Allen is going to have to be able to beat them downfield. But keep an eye, Ed Oliver back, Matt Milano back. That defense of Buffalo is finally healthy here. I still don't believe in Drake May. I still think he's going to make that one mistake tonight here that's going to give Buffalo the opportunity to run away with this game and win it by double digits. So I think the original line was correct. I think we've gone way overreacting to what we just saw from New England a week ago.
Kansas City laying 3 on the road at Jacksonville. How much are we overreacting to Kansas City's win over the Baltimore Ravens last week?
I don't think we're reacting enough. I think this line should be bigger. I'm sorry. Trevor Lawrence against Spags and this defense.
I was going to say that's your girl because, that's always – Trevor has always been Steffi Graf to you.
Yes. Yeah, well, Trevor is great. Love the Goldilocks, Trev. Really do. But, no, listen, I mean, kudos. They seem to have figured some things out there with Liam Cohen as the head coach. But as far as I'm concerned, what we saw last week, I could not believe the sticking them with a fork here. Kansas City is done after a couple of weeks into the season. They get Worthy back. And did that even come close to resembling the same team that we saw early? No. The one thing we have seen is that defense with Bolton in the middle there, a tackling machine. They're coming after Trevor Lawrence. I don't trust their receivers. I don't trust the offense. I do trust Andy Reid and Kansas City being pissed off enough to make a statement in Jacksonville, and I think they will here on Monday night.
I am probably staying clear of that game because I liked Jacksonville, but I am also very afraid to, as John Murray said, spend my Monday betting against Patrick Mahomes. Not the way I would like to start my week. Joe Ranieri, what are you promoting today here at Wager Talk?
5% best bet, first one in the NFL season, locked, loaded, ready to go. Not to mention 3 other NFL plays and a Major League Baseball play, all available, Ariel, because it's going to be one hell of a profitable Sunday here in Week 5 of the NFL.
We love to hear it. Joe Ranieri giving out his first 5% play of the year in the NFL. We are super excited to have you here on Last Call today. Thanks for coming on and good luck.
Go Yankees.
Go Yankees. Let's talk anytime touchdown props because in case you don't know and you're watching the show, Kelly in Vegas and I, you've got last chance to sign up, splashsports.com/Kelly in Vegas. It's Kelly and I's anytime touchdown survivor pool. You just have to pick someone to score a touchdown each week and you move on. $10K guaranteed to the winner. So sign up, splashsports.com/Kelly in Vegas. Go to Ariel and Kelly's touchdown survivor pool and you could win $10K. All you need to do, $15 to sign up, an entry. That's it. You get multiple entries if you want. So let's bring them on. Dan's going to help us pick our anytime touchdown scorers. What you got for us?
I will say for a survivor concept, I like going like some nice plus money with my anytime touchdown score. So if we're in a survivor league, it's James Cook. You just take James Cook every single week. Now for this, you can only use
him every week. You have to choose.
Yeah.
One.
No, I know, but I'm saying if you're hopping in and you haven't used James Cook already, you use James Cook. The other one that could be a nice one, again, like if you're in a survivor league, you probably want to go for the ones who end up being like -210, -180 touchdown scores, which are guys like Derrick Henry. I like Derrick Henry to have a bounce back day today. Yeah, the Houston Texans defense, I think they're a little bit overrated. So Derrick Henry bouncing back, not fumbling the ball today. Didn't really get many carries in that last game. So I think there's going to be a concerted effort, help out Cooper Rush. Derrick Henry goes a long way to do that. So those are, I guess, some of your chalkier plays. But the ones that I'm betting here today, I love my tight end props. I love tight end reception props. I really like looking at how teams match up against tight ends because it's a positional battle that I feel like you can actually handicap really well other than just, trying to throw a dart and say, hey, this player plays well against this team, X, Y, and Z. If you see a team that consistently has a disadvantage against the tight end position, it's something that where there's smoke, there's kind of fire. Now one that I'm kind of talking out of both sides of my mouth here, we're looking at the Denver Broncos and Philadelphia Eagles game. Shocker. They're great, is this Denver defense. However, they're kind of like sneaky suspect against the pass who's ever not being covered by Patrick Surtain. They're actually 18th in the NFL in passing yards allowed, 217 over, 217 they give up. So guys who aren't getting blanketed by Surtain, which figures to be probably A.J. Brown if he travels with him, or it's going to be Dallas Goedert if he stays on his one side. So I like a guy like Dallas Goedert. Since he came back from injury, he scored 3 touchdowns, 1 the first week, 2 last week. They started utilizing him with these little, quick passes to him around the goal line. And because the Broncos defense hasn't given up a touchdown to a tight end yet this year, you're seeing a nice plus 400 on a guy who scored 3 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. So Dallas Goedert, anytime touchdown for me, a plus 400. That's the first one that I have today. What do we think about that one, Ariel?
I like it because on the flip side of that, the Eagles are great against tight ends. So I'm actually looking to fade the other side of it where we could get an unders. On the other side, any tight end that faces the Eagles. So like Evan Ingram today, I take unders on them.
Oh yeah, Ingram, and then it has a lot to do with the fact that Jihad Campbell has really come alive for this defense. Not only is he able to rush the passer, not only is he able to stuff the run, he's able to cover players. There was one play where he broke up, where he was stuck in coverage last week, and I was like, is that a corner? No, it's Jihad Campbell. Now he's a little bit banged up, but he wasn't on the injury report, so that's something to watch. Another tight end prop here for you. I mean, they're playing the Panthers. You heard Joe how maybe the Dolphins shouldn't be favored against anyone, but Darren Waller looked back last week.
I like Darren Waller this week.
Yeah, and you're looking at him anywhere from around like plus 300, plus 350 as an anytime touchdown scorer. He was back with a vengeance last weekend or last Monday night already.
So bad too, Miami against tight ends. Miami and Carolina are bad against tight ends.
Yeah, absolutely terrible. And this is a Mike McDaniel's team who loves going to tight end crossing routes around that goal line. And now they have a guy who can go up and get the ball. You saw that Tua was forcing it to him early. And with no Tyreek Hill, they're going to have to restructure this offense a little bit. There won't be as many vertical shots. It's a lot more across the middle. Darren Waller's a guy who can break a tackle, who can go in. Plus 300. I love that one. And then this one's not an anytime touchdown score, but this prop, I would be remiss if we didn't play it, Ariel, because the Giants and Saints game, dear God, what a barf game that we have the Saints as favorites.
Yeah, it's the one I feel like we've talked about the most, which is hilarious.
Because it's so ugly that it's like, and is Spencer Rattler finally going to win a game? I guess we'll find out this week. I mean, they've been a covering machine.
Do we like Kamara to score a touchdown?
I don't hate Kamara. Actually, the one that I would maybe look to go because it's going to be some nice plus money. I don't have my screen in front of me. What do we get on Kendre Miller to score a touchdown? Kendre Miller backup running back.
You're going to go that route. Oh, well, goodness. I mean, he screwed me over in a huge fantasy league that I've had before. But
yeah, but here's the thing: Miller, is Kamara older back? You're going to limit, his exposure a little bit. They use him 5-1
on FanDuel. Yeah.
Sprinkle on Kendrick. That's a touchdown vulture just screaming to happen right there. Kendre Miller comes in after Alvin Kamara gets him on a screenplay all the way down to the 1. He's sucking wind, and they're like, we can't trust Spencer Rattler to do a quarterback sneak. Kendre Miller right up the gut, touchdown plus 500. So the prop that I'm playing in that game though, Ariel, minus 110. So we love the price. You're laying the customary juice on a prop, which is pretty rare when you're getting a plus EV prop at only minus 110. Rashid Shaheed, of the New Orleans Saints. They're facing off against the Giants. The Giants are pretty bad against receivers. If you look at where receivers line up against them, that's where it just gets exponentially bad for how awful they are against wide receivers that are lining up from the outside. And that's exclusively what Rashid Shaheed does. This is the downfield threat for the New Orleans Saints. You got Olave who eats up the targets across the middle and the short game stuff, but they take their shots to Rashid Shaheed, and you're looking at his longest reception under 20 yards. It's 19 and a half. He has a reception of nearly 40 yards on the year. When he catches them, they are long bombs. Giants defense does not defend long bombs well. If they take shots, it's going to be to Shaheed. I can't believe that we're only getting minus 110 and under 20. I think this one's good up to like 22 and a half, 23 and a half. The fact that we're under 20 and it's minus 110, big play for me was Rashid Shaheed over his longest reception. And if you're at the bar, Ariel, and you're buying some beers, just buy one less beer and take the $5-6, put it on a parlay of those 3 plays that we just gave out, plus 37.18. How about that?
Ooh.
A little parlay sprinkle. Get $200 back
prop
instead
parlay.
of a beer. There you go.
Love a prop
There you
parlay with Dan. Someone asked in the chat, Taysom Hill, anytime touchdown?
So he's finally going to be active is what it looks like. I mean, I don't hate them working him in right away, but I feel like there's better shots to take out there, right? Because he was coming off of the injury from last year. So how much of a ramp up is there? What's the target share going to look like? What's the snap count going to look like? So if I had 1 week under the belt of seeing Taysom Hill, maybe the number makes sense. Maybe he scores, but I just think there's better ones that you can draw on actual data other than just saying, oh, Taysom Hill's back. We should bet him now.
Okay. Dan says no, Taysom Hill today. We'll see how he does as he gets back into the mix of things.
I gave him the Tanjas on Thursday Night Football because I love my tight end props, and it was like a no-brainer.
I love tight end props.
No
I
wide
like them way more than receiver props.
Yeah, so we bet him. It was plus 450, and we also talked about, hey, does he score the first one? Plus 2,800 was what we got on the Tanja's first touchdown score. So so we'll see. We'll see.
Wow.
I'm not going to hit all that all the time, but it feels good when you do, and you do it live on air, as you well know.
Gianni the last few days. Gianni hit the UCLA outright. You're getting the Tanjas outright. Oh, damn.
Yanni made me look like a genius out here because obviously a Penn State by marriage fan out here in UCLA territory. I was telling folks, I was like, UCLA is probably going to win this game. And they were like, you're crazy. UCLA hasn't even led in the game. And I was just like, I watch bet on it. And Yanni told me they're going to win on the money line. So
and everyone's like, oh my God, who is this guy?
Yeah, just because I watch Bet On It here. And you can watch Bet On It too. You still got an hour until game time. Check out the Bet On It NFL edition. If you want to give me some props, you can check out the Circa Millions show. Me and Adam Rosenberg, we do a show where we give our pick 5 on our Circa picks, and people are enjoying it. Check it out before the games go live. We got 5 picks going today. 8-2 over the last 2 weeks. It's a new quarter, Ariel. So I'm hoping that we can start this quarter off how we ended the last.
We were already lucky enough to get you on the show today, Dan.
Oh,
I already am feeling lucky.
Flattery will get you everywhere.
Our Sunday lucky.
Flattery will get you everywhere.
Dan, thanks as always for producing, being the mastermind behind the show, and coming on, giving us lacrosse picks throughout the year. He's given us now these anytime touchdown props. Got great value out there. For the 1 o'clock slate, I would say my favorite bet is Daniel Jones over 4.5 rush attempts. He went over in both of his home games so far this year with 6 and 7. When you look at the other quarterbacks that face this Vegas defense, Caleb Williams, Marcus Mariota, and Justin Herbert all had at least 6 rushes. Drake May had 4. Vegas tied 4th most rush attempts per game to quarterbacks. We know Daniel Jones likes to scramble. We know that he's mobile out of the pocket. The Vegas Raiders have been good at containing running backs this year. So you're going to see Daniel Jones have to get out into open space. And if things go through the way that they've said today on this hour-long show, people are liking Vegas. Yanni's saying he's seeing a lot of sharps on Vegas today. If that's the case, Daniel Jones is going to use his legs a few times. So I'm going to go with Daniel Jones over 4.5 rush attempts. It was plus 108 earlier this week. It's now down to around minus 115. So make sure to check that out. And again, you still have some time. Sign up, splashboards.com/Kelly in Vegas. Ariel and Kelly's Touchdown Survivor, 10K guaranteed to the winner. I need that 10K. So I'm going to work a lot harder this time. to win my 10K. And if you need to, you could go back to the YouTube page here on Wager Talk, and you could look at all of our handicappers, look at all the shows, and you can get all the analysis that you need to take you through today's entire NFL slate. Major League Baseball also today. Just to recap, Gianni said the Yankees is something he's seen a lot. John Murray said they need the Yankees, the Brewers, and the Dodgers in Major League Baseball. The other needs of the day for the Westgate: Raiders, Dallas, Cincy, and the Commanders. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in today here on Wager Talk Last